Hi, this is Richard Vague with Tycos. Some contend that the government shouldn't, quote, pick winners by funding research and development, insisting that the private sector should drive innovation. However, if we study the history of innovation and manufacturing progress in the U.S., the most advanced products and services come largely from intensive, long-term, foundational, basic research, the kind that most companies cannot afford to undertake because the payback is so often measured not in months or years, but in decades. While private businesses have financed much of America's R&D, from Edison's labs onward, large-scale or decade-long projects with uncertain returns often require government support. That would include research in artificial intelligence, biotech and genetic engineering, and supercomputing, just to name a few. This research most often comes from government entities such as the National Institutes of Health, National Science Foundation, and the Department of Defense, for academic research in the most advanced laboratories and with the most extraordinarily cutting-edge research and engineering. From its earliest days, the U.S. government has actively propelled technological and economic progress. This all started as early as the American Revolution, when it supported the colony's modest manufacturing efforts to help support the war. That foreshadowed Alexander Hamilton's 1791 report on the subject of manufactures, which urged America to embrace the Industrial Revolution. In the early 1800s, state funding for the Erie Canal, really one of the most important things that happened in early American economic history, and railroad subsidies, including land grants for the Illinois Central, which predated the Transcontinental Railroad, spurred transformative development. In fact, roughly 85% of the cost of the Erie Canal was financed by the New York State government and local governments along the route. This led to the cost of transporting freight from Buffalo to New York City to drop from $100 to $5 a ton, and dropped transportation time from 20 days to 6 days. This success inspired others, and by 1860, over 3,600 miles of canal had been built in the U.S., over 60% of which was financed by state governments. Abraham Lincoln ran for office in 1832 on a platform of publicly funded internal improvements, and later, as a lawyer, his best-paying client was the Illinois Central Railroad. Public financing of Samuel Morse's telegraph line in 1844, the founding of the National Board of Health, the precursor to the NIH, in the 1870s, and the construction of the Panama Canal with government funds in 1914, all underscore the government's pivotal role in shaping national progress. By 1950, Vannevar Bush's contributions to military success in World War II had brought a vision for federal science agency that gave rise to the NSF, sparking countless innovations. This legacy continued into the mid-20th century with the Manhattan Project, which led to hundreds of commercialized innovations in the post-war years. The massive expenditures of the space and arms races further pushed technological boundaries, most notably in microchips, where government demand drove down costs from $32 per chip in 1961 to $1.25 by 1971, enabling the rise of affordable computers. Across these milestones, the pattern is crystal clear. Government-backed research and infrastructure, coupled with private industry involvement, has repeatedly laid the groundwork for America's industrial and technological leadership. The Small Business Investment Act in 1958 yielded SBIC funds that helped meet the early capital needs of companies such as FedEx, Tesla, Apple, and Intel. The iPhone, perhaps the most iconic, consequential artifact in the world today, was built on technologies that emerged directly out of or were significantly enhanced by many large-scale government research efforts. There are major technologies integrated within the iPhone that stand out as features that are either enablers or that differentiate these products from their rivals in the market. These all came from government-based research. These examples are just one small part of the story, and they underscore that from many of the most important economic developments in our nation's history, it wasn't the marketplace that determined success, but the government in concert with the marketplace. Huge swaths of American business success have been built on government-funded R&D. This investment has been central to the United States' rise to global preeminence. Against this legacy, we now see how the current administration is rapidly cutting our R&D capabilities, ceding global research leadership to China. This is happening really across the board, and it's happening very quickly, and some of it's going to be hard to reverse if we don't act now. It's surely not something we intended or is in our best interest. That's it for this week. Thanks. And as always, you can find PDFs of our charts in the email and on our website, tycos.com.